Welcome everybody. If everybody could just be quiet for a moment. We're going to start. Welcome to Spice Road to Delta. This is an incredible turnout. We want to first acknowledge the Tsawwassen First Nation on whose ancestral land we stand. We had to do some research, but we found out that the family this land belonged to was indeed the Tsawwassen First Nation. The library is part of the Welcoming Community Partnership. The library is considered a third place, a hub of the community, a safe and open, barrier-free space. We want to teach about the many different cultures in Delta, and that's why we are part of the planning partners of the Welcoming Community. Not only do we offer space for events, we offer information, settlement services, for newcomers and welcoming barrier-free services for everyone in Delta. Nicole is here. Where's Nicole? Nicole is sitting right here in the corner, and she's here for My Health, My Community survey, and she would like you to come and visit her in the library at the end of the program to complete a survey for the chance to win an iPad. And then just the things that I have to mention, there's washrooms just out the door to the left, but you have to go to customer service to get the key. And then the fire entrance is right here, and also through the back door and out the main doors. And I'd like to introduce you to one of the project partners, and that's Doug Sapper.
And I thought, what a wonderful thing for me to come to a thing about spices, because my mother, being an English cook, her idea of really racy spices was salt and pepper. That was it. No spice.
And mashed potatoes.
And mashed potatoes, that's right. So, as Tracy said, we're part of the Welcoming and Inclusive Communities program here in Delta. And it's a partnership of a number of wonderful organizations that serve this community. And this night is one of the many events that we're putting on that really promote the whole idea of diversity, like understanding diversity, the kind of community that we live in here, the kind of community that we live and we work in, and how different it is, and what wonderful gifts various communities bring to the overall community here in Delta. And I'd just like to put a shout out to our dear friends from Van City that are here tonight, who have been tremendous supporters of a lot of the work that this group has done. And actually, one of the things is, if you go to the Van City at 72nd and 120th, it's like having a diverse experience, because there's all sorts of different things going on there. They're helping with the bread cleaning and the fruit and the vegetable cleaning and stuff. It's just wonderful. This is a great community, and what we're going to learn tonight is about some of the people who have brought their own culture and their own cooking to our community, and we're going to be learning a lot about that. And I, for one, am really, really, really curious about how that's going to play itself out. So, I would like to introduce my colleague and my friend, Devinder Chatta, from Progressive Intercultural Community Services, who is the lead organization in the Welcoming and Inclusive Communities program. We just got back from Ottawa, yeah, which is a lot colder than it is here.
Yeah.
Thank you, first of all of you for coming out in the evening when it's raining outside. So rain is okay, I think we are used to it, but in Ottawa it's very, very cold. My name is Devinder, and I am from PICS. I work there as Director of Language Studies, Settlement and Social Programs. And Welcoming Communities project is very dear to me. And we are working with the youth community organization since last almost a year. And we're working with our community partners. We had a lot of meetings to see what where Delta stands and how many beautiful resources Delta has, north and south both. Let me talk to you a little bit about PICS before I come to our Welcome Communities project. PICS is Progressive Intercultural Community Services Society, and we serve both Surrey and Delta communities. And our CEO, Chief Executive Director, is Mr. Dr. Sharon Gale, because he just got his honorary degree of doctors from Quantum Polytechnic University a few months ago. So we serve our communities with settlement programs, with employment programs, housing, literacy, settlement, and there are employment diversity programs, special programs such as counseling, culture navigation partnership with the Work Safe BC, HIV program, Immigrant Public Legal Education and Information Consortium project. We have also PACE College, and that we have many training programs running there. Parenting after separation, Toastmasters Club, translation and interpretation, volunteer programs, Interfaith Bridging Program, and Better at Home program for seniors. We also have two big buildings, assisted living and senior housing on 75A and 128 Street. So in a way, we like to serve all groups of community, including seniors, youth, women, children, so we can help the less advantaged people who need our help. We get funding from local, provincial, and federal government. As you all know, that it's a lot of work to find funding to help our communities. So for this Welcome Communities project, we are working in partnership with many brilliant organizations such as Delta Assist, Doug, who already spoke, and then there is FVRL, Fraser Valley Regional Library. Gillian McLeod is very proactive in her approach to help communities. From Delta School District, Satnam Chahal, who is on our steering committee, and then Sepia Sharma from Fraser Health, Ann Peterson from Collaborate Delta. Chamber of Commerce is on our table too, along with Earthwise Society. And I think I haven't forget anything. And these are 7 of the partners who sit together, plan on events and how to make Delta a welcoming and inclusive place for newcomers. Welcome Communities project is two-way integration. So the newcomers come here and they learn how to adapt and how to feel themselves inclusive. And the long-term residents in Delta would welcome those newcomers to come and be with us. We'll help you to integrate and settle in Canada. So this is the new approach adopted by Welcome BC. And we are funded from this program from Welcome BC that gets some of the help from federal government as well. So this is a way we support our inclusive and vibrant communities. And we are trying to bring together South Delta and North Delta. So we had our different events and different art exhibitions planned for both South Delta, which is Tsawwassen and Ladner, and in North Delta as well. So we have our summit also coming up soon on March 13. So that would be going to be a big event as well. We want all of you to come and participate in that. And I like to welcome all of you from different organizations, from different parts of Delta to this event. And we are going to have a very great event today, Spice Road to Delta. So I welcome all of you. Thank you very much for coming. So we'll proceed on to our next agenda item.
Thank you so much, Devender, Doug, and Tracy, for the wonderful introduction. We're going to move on to our first presenter, and that is Mr. and Mrs. Michael Yang. They'll be presenting on Chinese and Korean food. And I do apologize if not everybody got a little bit of the snacks that we had prepared for the night tonight. It's just that we weren't expecting such a wonderful turnout. But I do welcome all of you and hope you enjoy the rest of the evening. Michael and Mrs. Michael.
And this event is Spice Road to Delta. So I'd like to introduce the Chinese dumpling and the Korean kimchi, especially focus on the Chinese vinegar, garlic, and red pepper powder. The three spices I choose to introduce to you. Why I choose Chinese dumpling and Korean kimchi? Because my family is a typical multicultural family. I'm Chinese, and my wife is Korean. She's first language is Korean. So when she is dreaming, she speaks Korean. I think it's unfair to me. I don't know. So, look at this. There's a lantern, Chinese lantern. It's 新年快乐, Happy New Year. And this is Korean boys and girls dress the traditional Korean clothes. So today our family is Chinese and the Korean combination. Okay, how to?
Sure, I'll try for you.
It's okay. Oh, and this year is Chinese Horse Year. Chinese New Year is at the end of January, and Chinese New Year will lasting 2 weeks from the first day of Chinese New Year to the 15th. It's the final day is Lantern Festival, so it's lasting about 2 weeks. It's the whole Chinese New Year, so it's not too late to introduce Chinese New Year. This year's Chinese Horse Year, Chinese people use 12 animals to symbolize different years. I was born in dog year. This year's this is a toy horse, and this is gold. This character means you can earn a lot of money. This one is the character of Chinese horse, and 2014. Okay. Oh. And this is a typical Chinese family. It's not our family. Just to show you now, because Chinese people was governed by the Communist Party, so we only one couple only can have one child. So this 3 generations living together, but only one kid. Maybe this couple's kids, and this is younger. Maybe they are waiting for their kids. For example, if this year is your animal year, for example, I was born in horse year. If this year is now it's a horse year. If I was born in horse year, so I have to dress red color underwear or red color belt to make me more lucky, get more good luck. For example, I suppose this lady was born in horse year because look at this. She wears a red bra. So I don't know was it and where is the color, but I suppose that she was born in horse year. Okay. Yeah, Chinese New Year. When I was a little kid, that life is not so good. We have no much money, and the only thing I remember is to dress warm and to fire the firecrackers. And yeah, the firecrackers, the lantern. These two kids are dressing in the Chinese traditional clothes. They use this style to show, yeah, to greeting each other. Yeah, I believe you saw or watched the video talking about Kung Fu. Yeah, when two people, before they're fighting, yeah, to show respect to each other. Yeah, but now we seldom use this style to greet people, just to shake hands. Oh, this is Chinese dumpling. It's my favorite food. I like them very much. I can eat every day and every, yeah.
Did everybody get a piece of the dumpling? Yeah? We actually had some dumpling, so.
Yeah, I
I
bring
think
some
everybody
dumpling
likes-
here. Yeah. Yeah, it's a procedures, steps how to make a dumpling. It's very easy. Yeah, for example, you can buy the all-purpose flour, wheat flour, and put water in it, and make a dough, big dough, and separate the dough into small pieces, as big as a loonie, a toonie, and make it thin like this to be a wrapper. And you can get your fillings. In this step, I will introduce how to make filling. Put on it and roll it and squeeze the edge together. Then you will get the dumpling. You can put anything into it if you like. You can put sugar, you can put vegetable, you can put meat, shrimps, and anything you can. Eggs, yeah. Yeah, it's a filling of Chinese dumpling. Yeah, you can put anything in it. If you are vegetarian or you necessary to put the meat in it, yeah, you can anything. Just make the filling like this, not so soft, not so dry, not so wet, just like this. Oh, yeah, the dumplings are ready for cooking now, just like this. Oh, yeah, please. Thank you. Yeah, you can use a pot, put water in it, and boil the water. When the water is boiling, put the dumplings in it, and then waiting. When it's boil again, put some cold water in it. Boil again, put cold water in it. 3 times. Then it's ready. Yeah, it's ready. Yeah.
Starts floating.
What's the purpose of adding the cold water to it?
Yeah, because it's boiling, and if you don't put cold water in it, then we'll spread it everywhere, and it's too short to make the filling
Cook everything
cook
inside.
done. Yeah. So now you can use the steamer and get it out and to serve it. I give this. Oh, garlic. I like garlic very much, but in Canada I seldom to eat it. Yeah, I don't eat very often anymore because it's get bad breath. Yeah. Yeah. If tomorrow is holiday or weekend, maybe I will eat something. Yeah. Look at this green color. Do you know why it has become green? Yeah, we put the garlic into the jar and pour the Chinese vinegar in it. 3 weeks later, we will get this garlic. It's delicious, tastes good. But why we call this La Ba garlic? Why it's called La Ba garlic? Because La is mean the last month of Chinese year, lunar year. La Yue, La Mu. La Ba means the 8th date of the last month of Chinese year. So at that day, you put the garlic into the vinegar and you can get this beautiful color garlic. I tried several times. If you put the garlic in vinegar a little bit earlier or a little bit later, I can't get such beautiful color garlic. I don't know why. So each year at the La Ba, that day, the 8th day of last month of Chinese year, we can get this. We usually eat Chinese dumplings with La Ba garlic and vinegar. Chinese vinegar. And when you eat the dumpling, I always dip it and take a lot of vinegar with the dumpling and eat it and take a La Ba garlic. Yeah, if you will, you can try it home. Okay, please. I love dumpling. This is Chinese words. I love. 饺子 means dumpling.
饺子
Okay.
You have to read with us.
Oh, yeah. The second thing I like to talk about is kimchi. You know, everybody may know kimchi is a famous food of Korean people. Yeah, my wife always make kimchi at home. Even we spend 1,200 Canadian dollars and bought a kimchi refrigerator, especially for making kimchi. It's very good because it can keep kimchi fresh for more than 6 months. 6 months, even 1 year. Yeah, it's so good. Very cool. Okay, yes. Yeah, and Korean people and other Asian countries, yeah, they celebrate Spring Festival, or we call Chinese New Year, or Lunar New Year, or Spring Festival. We all celebrate it. This is the Korean food, colorful and delicious, very nice food. Especially this is kimchi. Okay, please. Yeah, in kimchi, the most important thing is garlic, ginger, and red pepper powder. That's the most important thing. Oh, it's the steps how to make kimchi. The cabbage, Chinese cabbage, or Napa cabbage, and apple, pear, garlic, ginger, pepper, and onion put together. Some people use seafood, raw seafood, make it small pieces and put it in it. We won't like it. I love kimchi too. Yeah, so I like to say, because in our family it's the fusion of two cultures, I think. So my wife was my classmates when we were in the university. But we get together, I always think about it, what kind of thing combine us together. Yeah, these days when I preparing the presentation, I found one thing in common with my wife. Yeah, no, the garlic just will make your breath horrible, but it's healthy to you because now we can make purify the garlic into pills. You can take it. You can buy that without bad smells. Yeah. Oh, the fusion Chinese and Korean culture. I love garlic. And this means. Okay. Thank you for
Oh, yes.
It's our 10th wedding anniversary. Yeah, we are dressing in traditional clothes of Korea. Okay. So we combine together as the beautiful cultures.
Is there a question for Michael?
Yes, she was born, if she was born the year of the horse, with a red dress. Your wife.
Yeah,
She's wearing a red dress, is she born the year of the horse?
wear
On the picture.
red underwear.
Oh, I see.
And the belt, it's red belt. Yeah, you can get.
Was you born in the year of horse?
Yeah, not when I was born in dog year. So when
Oh, I
the
see.
next year is dog year, and that year we should wear the red thing. Maybe, yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. Okay, thank you.
You remember it?
Yeah.
Can I just ask a question? The Korean red pepper powder,
Yeah.
is there an equivalent here, or is that some?
Yeah, you can buy in
So just cayenne pepper
Korean
with-
supermarket or Chinese supermarket.
But there is, you couldn't substitute that for like cayenne pepper or
Yeah, you
paprika?
can. No, I don't think so. Yeah, just a Korean red pepper
Yeah.
powder. You can find it in the Korean
Yeah.
supermarket. Okay.
We have got another question back there.
The red pepper powder, the coloring, is that natural, or is there some additive to make it that
Yeah.
red, or?
If you make it by yourself, it's natural.
Okay.
Yeah, we never believe. Yeah.
So if I was to go into, say, TNT market. it's
Yeah, if you
just the
bought from
powder,
there, I'm
would
not
it be-
sure
would it be
if that
natural?
color is natural. But if you taste our kimchi, it's absolutely natural.
Yeah,
Okay.
Very good.
Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you, Michael. It was a beautiful presentation.
Thank you.
We'd love to learn more about this. We're gonna move on to our next presenter, and that's Miss Soledad, and she'll be presenting on Venezuelan spices. Alright. Thank you.
Hi, good evening, everybody. My name is Soledad Rodriguez, and I'm from Venezuela. So, first of all, thank you very much for asking me to come and share a little bit of my food and my culture with you guys. And Venezuela is located in South America, at the north of the south. And we speak Spanish in Venezuela. And many people think that our food is spicy, but actually it's not. When I talked to my husband and I told him that I was coming here to do a presentation on Venezuelan spices, he said, so you're going to talk about salt and pepper for 15 minutes? And I say, no, Thank you. You have been married to me for a long time, and you don't know that we have more than just salt and pepper. But so yes, it's not a very spicy food. We do use salt and pepper, but we use some other spices. That is what I wanted to show to you today. The first one is called annatto seeds, or how we call it onoto. And this spice is not very tasty, but it gives good color to the food. This spice here. So when you melt this in oil or you boil it in water, it becomes a red. That if it touches your hands or your clothes, it will stain it for a very long. Your clothes forever, your hands for like a week. So you have to be careful. First Nation people in Venezuela use this to paint their bodies too. So this is one spice that we use. If you taste it, I wouldn't taste it just like that, but if you do, it tastes a little bit like nutmeg or pepper. But really what we use this is just to give color, not to give flavor. So a dish that we made with this spice are hallacas. And hallacas is the Venezuelan typical dish for the Christmas time. Okay, and this is how you start making it. This is the very beginning of the process. You put the onoto, you boil it in oil, and you mix it with dough, with a dough that is cornmeal. And that's how you make the dough. And you add salt and pepper. So hallacas are very, very special for Venezuelans. We just make hallacas during Christmas time. And it's a big celebration. The family comes together and we cook hallacas together. So if you put, next slide please. This is my family making hallacas here in Canada. And because my family is not here, they're my friends, and friends become family when you're in a different country. So we got together and it took us like 48 hours to make them. First we got together and we made part of it, and the second day we assembled the hallacas, and you're gonna see a little bit of the process. So these are my friends making hallacas for my kids. So this is the hallacas. Do you know Mexican tamales? Are very similar to Mexican tamales, but better. So what are the difference? We fill them with beef, and it depends on each family put different things inside of the hallaca. There is some families from the south that likes to put olive, from the north they like to put almonds, or each family would have their own and add their own ingredients. And in Venezuela, each family thinks and believes, and I think it's true, the hallacas that you make are the best. Your neighbor wants it not as good as yours. And so this is how you make them. This is how they look before, and you wrap them in plantain leaf, and instead of corn leaf, which is the tamales, right? So you wrap them. You have all the ingredients inside, and that's the dough, and then you boil them. And when we get together and make them, we make like 100 at the time, and we can freeze them and eat them through the year. Okay? Something curious about the hallaca, Venezuela was hundreds of years ago a very multicultural country. We're not anymore. We're the result of that mix that happened between Europeans, black people that were the slaves at the time, and First Nation people from Venezuela. So that huge cultural mix is who Venezuelans are today. We don't look the same. We don't, you might encounter a Venezuelan person that is very fair in skin and tall, and you might encounter a black one. And it's because we come from different backgrounds. And this reflects in our food. And this dish, especially this one, is the mix of those three cultures combined. So the plantain leaf comes from our ancestors, the First Nation people, Indians in Venezuela. The almonds or olive that we put inside come from Europe, and those are from Mexico for Spain. And we have some other things like ají, that is another spice that comes from Africa too. So, and that was my first spice that I was going to talk to you about. Another thing, when I started reading about spices, I saw that Venezuelan spices were very unique. And I said, oh my God, this is just in my country. But little that I know, they're all over the world. And they're not from Venezuela. So they come from different parts. So this one, anise, looks like this. It's actually from the Mediterranean, but it's been used in Venezuela for so many years that I thought it was a Venezuelan spice. But we use it in our food. And this one is the panela or papelon. And panela or papelon, it comes from the sugar cane. And it's unrefined sugar cane that they boil and then somehow they put together again, and it tastes really good. It's sweet, and this one is good to taste. So I have just little samples here to pass around. It's like a brown sugar. So when you combine these two spices, we make a very special dish. That is arepitas dulces. Arepas in Venezuela is like bread. It's made of cornmeal. And savory arepas we eat every day for breakfast, or we eat them for dinner, anytime around the year. But when we have arepitas dulces, that means sweet arepa, it's a special treat. When your mom makes arepitas dulces, everybody happy at home. Why? They're sweet, they're deep fried, and you put cheese inside. So it doesn't get any better. Yeah. So it's not very good for you, it's not very healthy, and that is why moms, they don't make them every day. But when we do have them, they are awesome. And to make these two, you use the two spices that I mentioned before. You use the anise, and you use the papelon that is going around. You make a dough, and you deep fry that dough. And that's it. It's very simple. Also, with the papelon, we make a traditional drink called papelon con limon, and it's papelon with lemon, and it's like a lemonade. But instead of sugar, we use the papelon and give this color. And I had a little bit in the front. I don't know if you got an opportunity to taste it. And this is how you would find it in Venezuela. They sell it in the streets like this. And they're very persistent, and they want you to buy it all the time. But we make it at home too. So it's just sugar, the unrefined sugar called papelon, and lemon. You add some ice, and it's perfect for the summertime. And that's all my presentation. So thank you. Oh, is there any questions?
Yes. Any questions for Soledad?
Can you get papelon here?
Yeah, I think so, and I think in Filipino stores you can find papelons, and they have a different name, but I don't know it in Filipino. But in Filipino stores you can find it. Again, it's not unique to Venezuela as I saw it. They're in the smaller parts of the world.
By the way, papelon is from India.
From India, there you go.
It's called
There you go.
That's another name.
You can find it
Jaggery.
Yeah.
You can get it from any store.
There you go.
Well, this is the conversation that you wanted to start, right? We have so many spices in common that we're not aware of. So, yeah, just different names, but a lot of commonalities. I do apologize to everyone back there who don't have a seat. We have run over the capacity of the library, but thank you for coming. Next, our presenter is Ms. Mukwinder Rangi, and she'll be presenting on the Indian spices. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Mukwinder, and I'm still lost in in my mind, remembering all the recipes we just shared, because usually I'm more comfortable at home in my kitchen cooking, and I'm not a speaker, but Mariam and Gurpreet, they encouraged me to come out and speak about spices, which I love to use in my kitchen. And it's my pleasure to share with you some culturally enriched information about Indian spices and its benefits. Like Indian culture, and its elements, like any other, cannot be explained, or I can't tell you in under one constraint. It's so elaborate, In India, there are 27 provinces and 28 provinces and 7 union territories. So you can imagine how many flavors, how many unique food, spices, and culture is it's all collaborated in under one country. And so, facing the immensity of this challenge, I have decided to focus on introduce the northwestern Indian region of Punjab, a state where most of the visible minority in Delta belongs to. So, in Indian culture, good hospitality used to be, and still to some certain extent, it's still very visible. It's an expression of respect. Regardless when a guest comes to your house, he's hungry or not, he's thirsty or not, the basic, very basic thing, chai, is offered to everybody. Water and chai is offered to everybody. So I have some slides for chai spices, like cardamom, cinnamon, ginger, cloves, star anise, and black pepper, fennel seed and ajwain, or it's called bishop seeds. Chai is something like, if you have flu, just have hot masala tea, and it helps flu. It helps curing the simple sore throat, cough, any bronchitis, any small ailments, and it just helps you avoid the small trips to the doctor. If you have a sore throat, just add little bit of salt in tea, and it cures the sore throat. In summer, if you're really thirsty, you can have just a cup of tea, and it really quenches your thirst. It's very amazing. Usually, when we are thirsty, we keep drinking water, and still we feel that we are very thirsty. But if you have a hot cup of tea, it really helps quenching the thirst. And this can be made. All these spices you can buy from any Indian grocery stores, and it's you can make a little a combination of the spices in a powder and keep it at home, and just to use a little bit. And next one. Food is very important for Punjabis. Our festivities, all our celebrations, they start with the food and they end with the food. If you can, vegetarian and non-vegetarian dishes, they serve them in the grand manner, and be it a buffet or a sitting dinner. So usually starting with the huge variety of, I'm sure lots of you must have gone to the Indian weddings. So they start with a lot of appetizers, followed by buffet of veggie and non-veg food. And but one of the famous dish that most of the, be it a child or a grown-up or elderly, they all love is butter chicken. It's a very common dish that everybody loves it. I would love to talk about all the spices, but because of the time restraint, we can. I'll talk about garam masala, which is the prime spice to be used in any Indian cooking, especially in butter chicken. So this garam masala, it's comprised of 12 to 13 different spices. And you can see, very colorful and very aromatic. And another king of spices is turmeric. So turmeric you can buy, I think it's the next one. You can buy as a whole, dry, and a powder. So Yeah. So this is just a dry, you can use that or as a powder, and that's the golden milk. If you have flu, if you have non-bleeding injuries, arthritis, just 1 teaspoon of turmeric. If you mix it in hot water, milk, it's golden milk, and it's very good for your injuries and for the inflammation. So I have left, on a handout about turmeric. So if you go through it, it's very beneficial. So not only food wise, but turmeric is used. It has religious significance as well as very cultural and social significance. Like, this is a pre-wedding scene. Groom and bride, both of them, a night before the wedding, a paste is made out of turmeric with the oil and some flour, and it's spread on the groom and a bride's body. In olden times, they believed that it's a natural skin cleanser. It shines your skin, it gives a glow to your skin, which was very essential for a bride days. So that is this is the very significant event where all the family and the friend, they just rub the groom's body with the turmeric paste. Not only that, turmeric in the temples, the priests, they put turmeric it's just like a significance, holy significance. They put turmeric spot on the deities in the temples and even on their faces. So turmeric, if you look, it's a very old spice. It's 4,000 years old, and in those days it was used as culinary spice. And 80%, the world's most grown place is India for turmeric, and 80% of turmeric is used in India. So 20% is that's left is sent out, and yeah. So for the food, the curries are colorless if there's no turmeric. It's a natural color. And
Is it a root? Is it grown?
it's it's just like ginger. It looks like ginger, but it's yeah. So there are a lot of for turmeric, it's a kitchen use, good for wounds. If you have a wound, you just make a paste and put on your wound. It's helpful. Bruises, sprains, and if you have skin problem, digestive aid, you can drink it with water, and it helps digestion. Liver protection, arthritis, and it's believed that turmeric is it helps reduce cholesterol. And in India, in olden times, people were more self-sufficient, because the only thing they will buy was salt. Everything else they grew on their own. So the spices, it's the part of their culture. So they've been using spices for from long time, Ayurvedic time. So spices is the main. Lentil spices, they grow on their own. So it's the main thing. And in those days, olden times, I remember, and I'm talking from my own experience, that in those days, I will, give anything to go to my own village in vacation, because the life was very simple. Life was it was open. I had never seen my aunt lighting a fire a new fire every day. Like here, we turn on the stove in the morning to make tea or something, and because the fire continued day and night. So guests were coming, and tea was offered to everybody. So food was offered, regardless the person is visiting for 1 hour or 1 day or 1 week. So lunch, tea, lunch, dinner was offered to them. So Indian hospitality in that way is considered, I guess, Indian people are very hospitable. So, and in olden times, they used to believe in growing, like Western culture now we are coming to organic things, but I remember in olden times people were growing organic food, they were eating organic food, and they were much healthier than now. So, and I can go on and on about food and spices, but I think we Indians believe in live to eat and not eat to live. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mukwinder. That was a beautiful presentation. Does anybody else like butter chicken as much as I do? Yeah, we have got the recipe in the little recipe books that we are giving away to everybody. So if you have any questions when it comes to the instructions or anything, you can always refer to Mukwinder and she'll help you with that. All right, we're gonna move on to our next presentation, and that is Ms. Fatma Tali from Turkey. Fatma?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Fatma Telli, and I am an authentic Turkish chef in Vancouver. I'm going to speak to you about two spices. The spices, first of all, the use of spices and herbs are very important in Turkey. The Turkish cuisine is healthy, nutritious, and the Turks are traditionalists in their culinary taste. We don't use many sauces, so therefore spices becomes a crucial. It's crucial to add flavor to the dishes. So the first one I'm going to talk to you about is the sumac. You may have heard this. Long before the arrival of lemons in Turkey and the Middle East, sumac was used as one of the principal souring agents. As you can see, it's red and powdery. Next slide. So this powder comes from the sumac, the shrub. It's a small tree which produces reddish and purple berries at the end. And in the late summer and early autumn, these are picked just before they ripen and left to dry in the sun before being grounded into a powder. Next. So the use of in cooking, sumac has virtually no aroma, but definitely a tangy, lemony flavor. An essential Middle Eastern ingredient, and often added to salads and meats, marinades, spicy rubs, or dressings. Sumac also loves dairy. Sumac also loves dairy, so sprinkling on salty, pungent cheeses, so you can take the sumac and sprinkle it on them. Creamy yogurt, take some Greek yogurt, sprinkle some on. It's delicious. Feta cheese is a must. You should, especially with tomato and cucumber, mix it all together, sprinkle some sumac on it. But try adding some sumac to halloumi cheese. You all know about halloumi cheese. After you fry it, right after you take it off the grill or the pan, just sprinkle some sumac on it, and it absorbs into the cheese, and it tastes fantastic. So sumac is also been frequently used for medicinal purposes. Its health benefits include promoting healthy digestion, easing upset stomachs, and reducing feverish symptoms. Sumac berries and sumac spices are also said to contain the antioxidants. So You don't take the powder and drink it. The berry, I have not found the berry here. The powder is available in most of the Mediterranean stores and the Persian stores. But what you do, if you do find the sumac berry, you soak it under and wash the berries in faucet water, and then release the acid, and it releases the acids to make a drink. You filter that twice through a cheesecloth or a filter coffee, and you drink that, and that really helps your digestion, and it's meant to help a lot in your health. So adding sumac to parsley and onions is the best sides of meals, especially to kebabs and döners. So sumac has an acidic taste which balances the fat of the kebabs. You take the onions and the parsley and you mix it all up, and then you grind it with your hand with the sumac. So you're kind of killing the onion. The onion doesn't come to your mouth as really crunchy onions. It'll all go a little bit looser, so you can put that on the side of a meal. You can find sumac at local Mediterranean, Middle Eastern markets. You're likely going to find sumac ground, not as a berry, as I said. We do not have a Turkish market here, unfortunately. We don't have a Turkish restaurant here, unfortunately. I'm going to be the first one who's going to make that happen. There you go. There is one in Burnaby. There is a kebab, but not a restaurant. So the next spice I'm going to talk to you about is mahleb. You've probably not heard of this spice before. Mahleb is mostly a baking spice. It's used in pastries, cookies, and breads. It is found in Middle Eastern stores. So if you do ask the Persian or Middle Eastern stores of mahleb, and I suggest you use it. It's very good in cookies and cakes. So the mahleb spice is obtained from the seeds of the St. Lucy's cherry. It's an aromatic spice derived from the you pulverize the pits of the cherry into a white powder. Next one. So these are the pits. This is the cherry pits. Its flavor is similar to a combination of bitter almond and cherry. Mahleb powder is used in small quantities to sharpen sweet foods. So little tiny teaspoons and no tablespoons in cakes and that. It'll make it really bitter. But also pairs well with dairy to make puddings. So I put a little tiny teaspoon into puddings when I'm making a milk, not out of a packaged pudding. You have to put the milk on like regular, put the starch in, and sugar, and a little bit of mahleb, and you have to stir it and put the effort into it. You can actually treat mahleb as like a nutmeg. So whatever you put nutmeg in, you can put mahleb in. But I have it at my station in the corner on the table. You can smell it. It's a distinct smell to it. Traditionally, sweet cookies, breads are made from mahleb. Mahleb is also used in cakes and pastries. So next one. Just press the button, the middle. The arrow right in the middle. Yeah. So I'm going to transport you. Hopefully, there you go. We're going to the Spice Bazaar now in Istanbul. This is the largest spice bazaar in Istanbul. Not only is it a great place to buy spices, but it's also where you can pick up dried fruits and nuts and tea, candy, caviar. It's well visited from tourists, and many of the vendors speak English. Traditionally, Turkish food is usually not spicy, but some regions do enjoy the hot spice. Sauces and seasonings are often used but tend to be light and simple. Don't overpower natural flavors of the food. Most common and used seasonings include garlic. I love garlic. Cinnamon is, as you know, is used in baklava. Mint, lamb dishes, dolmas, grape leaves, which I was planning to bring, and parsley and dill. Those are the common. Yogurt is often used in meals, like it's a traditional side for us, and both in meats and vegetables. Sprinkle a little bit of sumac on yogurt and eat that. Tastes great. In our traditional, we have beef, lamb, chicken, and seafood. As you know, Turkey is a Muslim country. We do not have pork. I don't have it on my menu. Vegetables, wheat, rice are often the basics of Turkish food. Eggplant is a favorite. I go to the market and I pick out eggplant, and the lady next to me says, "What are you going to cook with this? How do you cook with it?" And so what we do usually, like a cabbage or a zucchini, an artichoke, we stuff them. We stuff them with ground beef, spices, rice. We also do them in olive oil. So there's the hot side and the cold side of doing it. So we, as a Turkish breakfast, we love our breakfasts. Our breakfast consists, is not a common breakfast like here, you put cereal in the bowl and then run off. We have a big breakfast. Turkey starts with a Turkish tea, butter, cheese, olives, tomatoes, eggs, green peppers, cucumbers, and honey and jam. You'd think that it's not, it is. When you go into a Turkish house, this is what you're going to have for breakfast. People are astonished when they come to my house and they go, "Are we going to eat all of this? Yeah, is it lunch?" I said, "No, it's breakfast." But as you know, you start off with a hearty breakfast. It's the best thing ever. Turkish people also love their kebabs, their beef kebabs, called köfte also. As grilled minced, it's minced beef with spices in it, shaped as a sausage. You will have a, I've also given you a recipe in the recipe book for a kebab. I haven't got it on a slide, but most likely what you do is mince all the ingredients up together and shape them into little sausages. And you can either grill them on the barbecue, or if you want, you can grill them in oil. Whatever you fry tastes better, they say, but it's done both ways. So you can grill them on the barbecue too. Turkish people also love their sweets, of course. Our commonly sweet is the Turkish Delight, which I have some on my stand, and if you'd like to try some out, I have some pistachio and some rose flavored, which I've just brought in from Turkey. And baklava. Baklava is there's two kinds that we do. We do the walnut and the pistachio. Homemade food is still preferred by Turkish people. Although the newly introduced way of life pushes the new generation to eat out, Turkish people generally prefer eating at home. So take your time to take a look at my table and smell the aroma of the mahleb. You won't be able to smell the sumak, but you can see it there visually because it doesn't have a smell to it. So thank you for listening to. If you have any questions.
I'm just going to remind everybody to please fill out the feedback forms. We'd really appreciate that. And also, we have spice bags that we'll be giving away, one to each family or one to each couple. So at the end, don't forget to pick that up and that from us. And also, we'll be announcing our winners for the door prizes. So good luck to all of you.
So, welcome to the spice presentation. We've been around the world and now we come to Sri Lanka. So, Ayubovan, and that is in India they say Namaste, but in Sri Lanka we say Ayubovan. And the meaning of Ayubovan is long life. May you live a long and happy life. So, and there are a few terms that I think you were given that in a piece of paper, that's a handout. And Istuti is thank you. So Istuti for coming tonight. Really welcome you. So does everybody know where Sri Lanka is? I just wanted to, before I get into the food, just wanted to give you a little glimpse of Sri Lanka. A beautiful little island which is nestled in the Indian Ocean. It's at the tip of India. Everyone knows where India is, the big country, right? And then right at the tip in the Indian Ocean is Sri Lanka. So when you come to Sri Lanka, it's a tiny little place. It's not very big. You can't go too far. It's 250 miles in length, and it's about 100 miles across. So in the course of a day, you can go from one end to the other if you drive fast. Yes.
Was it once called Ceylon?
Yes, the earlier name was Ceylon. And we were, just to give you a little bit of the history, we were a colony, a British colony. I mean, when we lost our independence, we were ruled by the Sinhalese kings. We had like a kingdom of Sri Lanka, and you'll see some of those slides later on. We were captured by the British, and the British loved to go all over and capture these little countries and have to rule them, right? So we were an English colony, so we became very British. So our cooking turned from, puddings and stews, and so we know that all. And then came the Portuguese. And the Portuguese came and they brought their own food. They conquered the English. So we had the advantage of having Portuguese food and Portuguese words in our language and culture. Then came the Dutch. So we were really truly multinational little country, and we had Dutch brooders. And anybody from any Dutch culture here? No? Yeah, they have those breads, the brooders, what you call, it's like a yeasted bread. It's quite popular, and lots of Dutch food. So then finally, one smart Sri Lankan said, no, enough is enough, now we have to get our country back. But we got our independence only after Gandhi. You heard about Gandhi, right? Mahatma Gandhi. He fought to get India back from the British, because India was also under the British for a very long time. So when India was liberated in 1947, then 1948, Sri Lanka followed, so then the British kind of relented and said, oh, to heck with this little island. We better let them do their own thing. So then it was a gentleman by the name of Bandaranaike. He was our first prime minister, and he did a great job in making Sri Lanka very national. So the Sinhalese was the main language. So we have two cultures, Sinhalese and Tamil. So I happen to belong to the majority, that is the Sinhalese. And religion-wise, we were mostly Buddhist, then there were Christians, and there were Hindus, and then there were Muslims. So we have 4 major religions in Sri Lanka, in this tiny little country. Then, what else can I say? I guess we'll move on to the food. Are there any questions about sofas? No? Okay, ready for the food now? And well, a little bit of the scenery actually. We'll just kind of go through, and then so this is a very common scene in a anywhere there's a river in the central part of the island, which is called Kandy, where I'm from, that kind of province, the central province. So the elephants were not allowed to just laze around. They were put to work. So they had to carry the timber, the logs, they cut. We didn't have big tractors and all that fancy stuff those days. So, people cut the trees and the logs had to be taken somewhere. So the elephants dragged them. So they worked all day. So in the evening, they get a nice bath. That's their treat. Splash in the water. Next slide. Now this is a very famous rock called Sigiriya. This was, there was a kingdom here, and actually inside the cave, there's a cave inside this rock. There are beautiful carvings. These are probably about 3,000 years old, and they're still intact. They were kind of destroyed by vandalism once, but they again restored it. And it is incredible, the ink that they etched and then they painted it. And they're still intact and still beautiful. The different carvings of beautiful women, that's a very common thing. They're called frescoes. So next slide. The next one is the same. So this is just a lake somewhere. It's beautiful scenery all over. We have mountains, we have ocean, surrounded by the ocean. Yeah. This is a famous gardens in the central province called Peradeniya Gardens. It's a botanical garden, and everything is so prim and proper over here. It's just, it's a huge area like our Stanley Park, but everything is, the lawns are so manicured and everything. This was set up by the British, I'm sure, so we have the really British standards. Next slide. It's a beautiful sunset scenery. Yeah. So now we get into the spices. Next one. So these are now Gurvinder talked a lot about Indian spices. So we use most of the Indian spices ourselves, so I'm not going to go through them all over again. So over here is, now I was asked to pick 2 spices that are very unique to Sri Lankan spices, and one is the fennel. I'm going to pass this around. You can actually take one and taste it. It's sort of like a licorice spice. So fennel is very unique and it has very medicinal properties. Has anyone here had the experience of overeating? Ever? After Christmas, Thanksgiving, whatever? Well, if you ever happen to do that, here's a quick remedy. You can put a little fennel seeds in water, like about a teaspoon, in maybe 2 cups of water, and boil it until you reduce it, and then just drink it like a tea. And you'll be fine in half an hour. Guaranteed. So it's like medicinal. A lot of these spices they have a long history of over 5,000 years. Ayurveda was started in India. It's the science of Ayurveda, and you can probably get this book in the library, The Taste of Ayurveda, and this was written by Amrita Sondhi, and she is, I believe, on the Sunshine Coast. She is a local BC girl, and she teaches cooking classes, Ayurvedic cooking classes, and she has written a beautiful book explaining the use of all the spices and so on. Now I teach cooking as well through Delta Continuing Education, as some of you may know, and I teach a course in Ayurveda as well. So, along with another Ayurvedic practitioner. So that's in the Delta Secondary School in Ladner. Every Monday night is a different class. I do Sai classes and Indian classes as well. So that's something for you to, if you are more interested in getting to the heart of the spices, they are not just for taste, they just don't sit pretty in containers. That's not the point of the spices. It's almost mysterious what spices can do. You can change things around. You can change the whole environment. You can change the way you feel by changing the spice. They're very powerful. There was a movie shot, and there's also a book, make a note of that, it's called The Mistress of Spices. And it's a very old book, and I read that, and a lot of things, the bell went on in my head. Oh, that is why I feel like that when I eat that spice. So, to give you an example, chai tea. If you ever had a nice cup of chai tea, and thank you for doing the chai tea today, it was very lovely. When you come in from the cold, the chai tea warms you up. So that is an Ayurvedic effect of one of the spices. All of the spices are help to warm you up. So some spices are used in the winter, some spices are used in the summer. So you don't do them at random. There is a whole science behind it. So there are warming spices and cooling spices. So now everybody knows the term curry. You heard of the term curry, right? So India is known for its curry, but there are other countries. Sri Lanka is known not as popular as the Indian curry, has taken the world by storm, but we do our own curries too. Like I have my friends, Sri Lankan friends, and we get together at the back there. Prasad and Shreya, they are like my Sri Lankan family, and thank you for coming. And they brought those beautiful Sri Lankan patties today, picked it up and delivered it here on time. Thank you very much. So if sometimes, I have been here long, and sometimes I have forget, so that might go to people for the Sri Lankan spices. I say, Shreya, what do you put in the fish curry? What do you put in, like I would like to get them to, let me know what to put. So now curry is a composition. Curry is actually coriander, which is this spice here, the little round balls. Where's the coriander here? That one there. In the extreme right. They are little brownish seeds. And coriander is a very general spice. You can crush some coriander in a spice grinder and put it into a curry. And it's very mild and very forgiving. So if you make a mistake and put 2 teaspoons instead of 1 teaspoon, no big problem, right? It's very mild, and it's a very earthy spice. Now that's again an Ayurvedic effect of grounding. Coriander grounds you. It's an earthy spice because Ayurveda comes from the elements that we call the air is an element, right? Earth is an element. Water is an element. So everything, and our bodies are reflecting those elements. Our constitution, our physical constitution is dependent on the elements. Some people, you can look at them and say, she's got more earth and got more water. You know, the people tend to be, people who tend to be light and tall and skinny, they are the air element. So you can look at a person and say, I kind of figured it out over the years, but it is it takes a Ayurvedic medical practitioner to do that correctly. But I have a good time just fooling around with that, guessing people's constitution. So according to that constitution, we should select the foods we eat. Now, if it's a heavy person, heavy with earth element and water element, and if that person goes on eating wheat, which is heavy, eating cold foods like watermelon, and eating those foods in the winter, well, what's going to happen? If you eat heavy foods, you become heavier. If you eat light foods, you become lighter, right? So this whole thing about North America and the West, people are obsessed about losing weight. And all it is people are not using the right foods. People are eating the wrong foods at the wrong time or the wrong bodies. I mean, you have the right bodies, yes, but you got to match them up with the right, yeah. Exactly, it's a very simple thing, just a solution if you study that. So that's the whole basis of Ayurveda. So I don't want to go into that too much today because I'm here to talk about Sri Lankan spices. So in Sri Lanka, if you go and probably ask, well, we have a lot of Ayurvedic spas now come up and giving beautiful massages, and it's become a destination place for holidays, and it's lovely to take a trip to Sri Lanka. Everything is so clean, you'll find the streets clean. It'll be, if you are coming from India and then going into Sri Lanka, and I have an experience going into India too, because I'm married to an Indian. So when I first went to India, I'm like, ooh, why is this street so dirty? Like walking in Bombay or Madras or someplace like that, it's very busy, it's overpopulated, so it's not their fault, and the governments can't afford to keep everything clean. But in Sri Lanka, we have less population, we have only 20 million, only 20 million, but in a small country. But it doesn't feel overcrowded when you go to Sri Lanka. It doesn't feel. So now, I was talking about curry. Can anyone guess the other two components? So the main pillars of curry are cumin and coriander. If you have these two, you can make a curry. There's only maybe two things missing. Anybody want to guess?
Chili.
Turmeric, yes. That's the yellow powder that Gurvinder talked about. Magic yellow powder. My God. Don't go a day without this. Really. You'll never have arthritis. You'll never have inflammation. You'll never have cholesterol. Everything will be, all of those diseases of, that we have so much around here will be taken care if you have these 4 spices every day, really, in the right quantities. So that, and then the one thing missing is chili powder. If you want a little dash of chili to something heat. Now chili is, what does chili do? Adds heat, exactly. You can almost guess it. It's like a game. It becomes like a mind game it's fantastic. Tell me when I have to stop. We are already over. It's
You're okay,
7:30.
we're enjoying it.
I got here late. So can everyone stay for what, 10 minutes more? Or?
Don't worry about
okay.
timing.
Don't worry about time.
Don't worry about timing.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Because I mean, I can go on and on, but I'll try to be on point. Because it is so, I'm so passionate about this, as you can see. And the spices mean a lot to me.
We appreciate the passions.
It's like not a single day goes by without me either touching or smelling or cooking with the spices. If I'm depressed or little feeling sad, well, place to go is your kitchen. Okay, take a little oil, little coconut oil, or in a little pan, maybe like 1 tablespoon, 1 teaspoon of oil. And don't be oil phobic, please. Don't be fat phobic. Fat doesn't make you fat. There are other things like sugar that makes you fat. So don't worry about fat. Just let that go. That fat is good for you. Some good fats are good for you, right? Like the good olive oil and coconut. Now coconut oil is in the limelight. When I was in Sri Lanka, we were asked not to eat coconut oil. You get high cholesterol and you get heart attack and you die. So everybody gave up eating our good coconut oil. And now coconut oil has made a big comeback and you pay like $10 for a small bottle. We had it by the gallon at home. And now they're calling it organic coconut oil. So I go back to Sri Lanka and my brother-in-law has a coconut estate. He has 50 acres of coconut. So I say, is your coconut organic? And he kind of like look at me like, where did this lady come from? What do you mean by organic? I said, do you put fertilizer? Do you put chemicals? Do you put... He said, we don't have the money to put all that stuff. So everything here is organic anyway. But they take it from there and they put a big label for organic and we are buying organic coconut.
Quite expensive, isn't it?
It is very expensive.
Canada.
Yeah. And it's the process, it's how it's processed. But my friend there, Prasad, he's very, very experienced with coconut estate. He said, well, every coconut oil is cold processed. They don't heat it, so it's not heat processed. So I have to still figure this one out, where the organic coconut oil came from. So eat the coconut oil, I even put it on my bread now, instead of butter, because butter is a saturated fat. And it comes from a cow, so leave the cows alone. Be kind to the cows, yeah. So now we know how to make a curry, right? And if you want any more, I have written a book as well. And I wrote this book in 2004 because our country, along with part of India, Thailand, and Indonesia, got flattened with the tsunami. And so many people were without houses. So I said, well, I feel so helpless being out here and all my, people from Sri Lanka are dying and so many people died and are homeless. So I said I had to do something, and at that time I was teaching cooking classes anyway, and I was like, and I'm so passionate about food. I collect every recipe from every part of the world. So it was really lovely for, Fatima, Kali, and to share the Turkish food and the Venezuelan food and the Northern Indian food. So I said, I'm going to write a book, and I'm going to sell it, and I'm going to make some money, and I'm going to send that to Sri Lanka. And I did. I was so surprised. I raised $4,000. It was not a big amount to write about, but it's like by selling it locally through the local bookstores. I didn't go anywhere else. Just to the libraries, everybody supported me. And I sent the money and we built a house. And now a family is living in it and with 2 children. So I feel very happy when I think about that. So I run out of copies of this book right now. But our friend Gurpreet here who organized this, she kind of gave me this. She said, Ginny, you have done a cookbook. Can I have 2 copies? I said, I have 2 last copies. This is the last one. I better hang on to it. So I gave her the one before. So that's going to be a surprise for you. One lucky person in this, or 2 lucky people are going to get that cookbook as a door prize. So don't go. Don't leave
Sorry,
it up.
I've already got it.
So don't go.
Fantastic
So
pleasure.
if you you want, there are some good Sri Lankan recipes, there are Indian recipes, mostly southern Indian, because my background is basically, I just cook naturally in the southern Indian way. And there are some lovely Thai recipes, and all these recipes I teach in my classes anyway, so they've been tested out so many times. So if you want to download this, go to my website, and there's a brochure there on my side of the table there with the Sri Lankan, with the name of my website. So if you go there, you can download this book. There's a minimal charge for that, not too much. So the other Sri Lankan spice that we use, okay, the two spices that I was asked to speak some unique is mustard seed. Now in Indian cooking, in the southern Indian cooking, they use mustard seed. And what does mustard seed do? It's a hot, peppery spice. And the way you cook with this is you take a little bit spoon of the coconut oil, heat it up, and you add. This is how we do. Just take a little bit and add. Don't ask how much. And, just a pinch into the oil, and it'll burst open, and release its aroma, and it'll go all over your face and all over your hair. But that's all part of the fun. So if you don't like that getting in your hair, then just take a lid and cover that just for 1 second, and it'll stop spluttering, and it'll infuse the oil with the mustard oil, the heat of the mustard oil. And then you can add your other spices into that. Cumin is always used like that too. I can honestly cook with just maybe 1 or 2 spices and produce a really beautiful, either the cumin or the mustard seed. Just put that into oil, a pinch into the oil, and it's becomes so fragrant. And you'll be there, sitting there, inhaling this aroma, the vapors of that spice. And now, simple recipe I'll give you. Cut some cabbage, like coleslaw, they're fine, and add it into that. And add a pinch of turmeric next. Add a little bit of coconut, and grated coconut, fresh coconut. If you don't have fresh coconut, desiccated coconut. Try that and tell me honestly, would coleslaw taste better or this my hot cabbage salad? I challenge you, everyone, you'll never eat coleslaw again. Coleslaw is a cold spice, and it's with mayonnaise and fatty, and this is just so fresh. Like the gentleman earlier who Michael talked about kimchi. Michael, I'm experimenting with kimchi. I tried to make kimchi last week myself, but I didn't have your recipe, so now I'm going to go home and try it. I put vinegar in it, and I kept it in the fridge, so it became a little vinegar and water, and I immersed the cabbage. So that's lovely too, and it's very nice and fresh and crunchy. And this one, don't overcook the cabbage, the hot cabbage salad. It just should be crunchy. Just cover it just after put the spices, and so lovely. I challenge everyone to go home and try that. So that I think is. Can we just finish the slides? I think. So that's coriander. That's cumin. Keep going. Mustard seed. No, chili. That was chili. A little bit of chili flakes. Yeah, I think. Now just covering 2 Sri Lankan food. In Sri Lanka, the main staple is rice. We would have a famine. If we have no rice, we would just die. We have to have rice. So everything is made with rice. And here, there's a big thing about gluten-free. People can't eat wheat and they're allergic to gluten. We have no problem in Sri Lanka. Who cares about gluten? Rice has no gluten, we eat rice. So this is made with rice flour and coconut. Just made into a thing and put into a mold, and it's steamed. And this is one of my favorite Sri Lankan foods. It's hoppers. In Sri Lanka, it's called appam. Now, appam is made with rice flour and coconut milk and a little bit of yeast. So it rises like a bread dough, and then you have to keep it like 24 hours. It's a long process making it. So we have tried to make this hoppers so many times with my Sri Lankan friends till they get it perfect. That's the challenge. So sometimes you can serve it with an egg inside, and we serve it with what you call sambals. Sambals are onion and chili and lime juice mixed together. So we serve it with a sambal and an egg. These are some beautiful fruits that we have called mangosteen, that little one with the white, like a little flower. You get them in Thailand and Indonesia and places as well. We have lots of, and this is a cocoa fruit, I think that one there is a cocoa fruit. Cocoa is where the chocolate comes from. So not just Mexico and Peru, we do have our own cocoa, so watch out. The next one. So this is the conclusion of our Sri Lankan spice presentation.
I often wonder about the, I guess, the best before date of spices. In your local supermarket, you can buy those spices in jars or packages or whatever. And, they come in large quantity and, they're sitting around for months.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
I'd like to know where to
All
buy
right.
really
All right.
good
When you-
spices,
when
like
you are-
fresh spices, but,
Yes.
when you're stuck going to the supermarket.
Okay, we are in the right area for spices.
Yeah.
You're in the right neighborhood for spices because we have our Indian friends having those big, Fruticana stores. Fruticana is on 120th and 80th. That's a big Fruticana store supermarket. Everything moves fast there. I like that store for buying all my Indian spices. And in the same Indian spice store, you can buy the Sri Lankan spices also, which is a good thing. So, and then if you buy everything in the whole seed format, not ground. Do not buy ground coriander. Do not buy ground cumin. You can buy the ground turmeric and the chili. Except for those two, I don't buy anything ground. You take those spices home, the coriander, buy maybe about quarter of a pound, a half a pound to experiment. Put it in an oven tray. Put it in your little toaster oven for about 10-15 minutes, and you'll feel the whole kitchen will be filled with the aroma of the spices, and you feel so exhilarated. That's the time to get it out, let it cool, grind it. Get a grinder for grinding your spices. And don't do the coffee in the spice grinder. You'll have Arabic coffee.
Only grind it as you need
Only grind it as you need it. And you can put it in a little bottle and keep it for about 2 weeks or 3 weeks, but not more than that. Because all the essential oils from the spices evaporate and it'll be like dust after that. So don't buy. And in this format, you can keep it for years. Nothing will happen because it's meant to be preserved. No bugs will attack these spices. They are so potent, and you have to read up and find out about it. And there's a lot more that I'm just scratching the surface. There's so much more to tell you about the spices.
Thank you so much, Jeannie, for your beautiful presentation. I'm sure we can stick around later for any questions, right? That anybody has. So we can have our questions to be responded to later on after. You can stick around until 9 because the library is open for 9. Okay, so at this point, I would like to call upon the vendor and Doug to come up here and present our wonderful presenters with a little token of our appreciation. So we have the vendor and Doug, please. Do we have Michael here? Michael, would you like to come up here? Soledad, Mukwinder, Ginny, Fatma. Did I miss anyone? So we do appreciate your time and effort for tonight, and I mean, you added a lot to our event. I mean, it was beautiful, and the presentations that you all had prepared. I'm sure everybody learned a lot tonight, and they're taking away great recipes and as well as great advice as far as the spices are concerned. So thank you so much for everything. I also wanted to thank Vancity for contributing to our door prizes. Do we have our Vancity crew here? thank you so much for leading the Density branch at North Delta. You can always go to the bank for any financial needs. They're wonderful and they cater to different financial, I don't even know what the words are. I'm really bad with banking. Yeah, they'll help you with any financial needs. So thank you, Vancity. And I think it's time for our door prizes. Yeah.
All packed. I guess it's hardly has any space to shuffle around.
I can put it in an envelope.
Or maybe this box. Sorry. This is way too big.
We want to be fair.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna dump this in a big bag and you're gonna give it a big shake.
Just shake it in this. There you go. And then close your eyes.
See? You're being fair and just.
You know, it's a great organization.
Okay, Doug, come on, take.
Oh, is there one on the floor? Oh no, that's just a surf.
Oh, do you
Pick one. Don't take all, only one. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a really good event, and we do lots of food programs, and it's all free.
The Eastern?
I didn't recognize that. I know I did something, but I didn't know I did that.
Let's kill.
Well, you're the winner of this wonderful book that Jenny has contributed to our.
So we're the better opponent.
Thank you.
This is E. Treasure.
Sorry, how do you pronounce?
Treasure. Am I pronouncing it right?
Congratulations, thank you so much for coming.
It's a bamboo steamer for you to make dumplings. You can steam them twice.
Thank you.
It's not bad.
Thank you. Thank you.
We partner with everybody. We know the big things that we win one.
And Sophie Anderson.
Down City gets a new employee. They come and do an orientation of them. They were wonderful.
And we were looking.
We also have Vancity door prizes. So we can have 2 more tops. One's for tomorrow. Do you want to come up here and announce the winner for the Vancity? Well, we have another similar event tomorrow night at the Ladner Pioneer Library, so if you want to win, you're more than welcome to attend tomorrow.
Anita Bhatia.
Anita Bhatia.
You don't see the we have drop-in dummies. There's many things that we do. You cannot reach people clinically adequately clothed, adequately fed and safe. So that's what we work on first.
I also wanted to take the time to thank Group Read for all the hard work and effort that she put into this. Unfortunately, she ended up with a flu, with a very bad flu, so she couldn't speak as much, but hopefully by tomorrow night she'll be better. And
I'll be doing this.
all right, yes, you'll be doing that.
Hey, thank you everyone for coming and sharing time with us. And yeah, thank you to Gurpreet and Miriam and for arranging everything and celebrating it. Thank you.
Thanks for all the library. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. I also just wanted to mention that we've got Getting Started with Ancestry programs Wednesday, February the 19th. So if you're interested in Ancestry, then there's a poster in the library. Okay, thank you.
Right. One last message. So tonight kind of proved that we're all so different and yet we have so much in common. And our presentations could really speak to all the spices that we all thought we owned them, but then they're all over the place. So again, thank you so much for coming. Don't forget to take your spice bag and submit your feedback form. Again, tomorrow you're more than welcome to attend at the Ladner Pioneer Library in Ladner. It's gonna be same time, 6 to 8 p.m.
Yeah.